Now let's go to Governor Newsom for an update on the coronavirus fight.
I come at this not academically, not as governor, but as a parent of 4 young children, different ages, different cohorts, different situations. One respect, different schools. We're having conversations that I know millions of Americans, millions of Californians in particular, are having. These conversations are trying. These conversations can at times be confusing. This is a challenging moment for all of us, particularly parents, and particularly those that are responsible for over 6 million of our kids in our public education system. So I wanted to talk about where we are, what our progress to date looks like, lessons we learned from the spring session, recognition that good enough never is, that everything we're putting out here today we recognize requires even more work, more focus, more energy, and more effort. And so I want to just begin with that as a preamble of deep recognition of the anxiety, deep recognition of the role that we all play on making this school year, modified as it will be, as successful as we possibly can. And I also am very mindful that every single child is unique, every single child is special, every single child has a unique expression. And that means that no 2 of us learn the same. And as a consequence, this conversation we'll have here today, a conversation where we're going to invite in a number of educational leaders to participate in this conversation, means something differently for each and every person watching. And I'm very, very cognizant of that. And I recognize that our role, our responsibility is to do everything we can to tailor and individualize to the unique needs of families and individuals that we're here to serve. But let me begin with a predicate, not just a preamble, and that is safety is the foundational first approach that we look at, the lens to which we advance all of our decision making. Safety for our students and safety for those responsible for educating and supporting our students. Clearly our teachers, but also we cannot forget our bus drivers. We can't forget our janitors. We can't forget all of the incredible support staff that we also are entrusted to support and protect, to keep healthy. One of the things we did a couple of months back in recognition that we needed to have time to prepare in terms of focusing on preparing the physical environment, because again, our commitment, our default long-term is in-person instruction. The social-emotional benefits of in-person instruction are self-evident. The need to develop relationships, develop connections, to be inspired by a teacher or a magical moment that changes the trajectory of one's life. It is suboptimal to have that experience virtually. That is something I believe overwhelmingly is accepted and recognized. So we are in a suboptimal environment, but with expectation and anticipation that we will go back to the environment that we are more familiar with. We wanted to make sure that our schools had the chance to be prepared in that respect, to have the procurement of PPE, face shields, face covers, thermometers, hand sanitizers, and the like. And I just want to remind you that the state itself, in anticipation of reopening our schools to in-person instruction, has provided already millions and millions of masks and face shields, tens of thousands of thermometers, and 1.5 million gallons of hand sanitizer. I recognize that's not enough, and I'll talk in a moment of what we were successfully able to do with the budget to provide an unprecedented amount of resources to supplement what the state has already provided. But this is important because I want folks to know the state's commitment to provide at no cost to the districts these supplies in anticipation of being able to move in the direction all of us want to move. That said, we're anticipating, based upon the current analysis, and we'll be coming out Monday with more detailed information as it relates to county by county watch list, which is foundational. We'll talk more about that in a few moments as well. But we estimate, at this moment at least, over 90% of our students, and you can argue it's closer to 95, 97% of our students are likely to start the school year with distance learning. And that's what we're preparing for. That's what we're disproportionately focused on. That school year has already begun for many. Yesterday, today, next week, large cohort a week after. So school year is upon us, and we are now just beginning this journey together on a more robust approach to distance learning in this state. We made this point that schools may be closed, and I've made this point in the past, but class is still in session, that we are committed, we are accountable to continuing to ensure that not only we're preparing our teachers to be great teachers in a very constrained and difficult environment, preparing our students to be at their best, but that we are preparing a broad strategy, recognize that we still have a lot of gaps and a lot of inequities that need to be addressed. And so we will get to some of the details of what we're planning to do in that space in a moment, but I want you to know that is top of mind, and we're very cognizant of our responsibility in those challenges. Accordingly, we've been guided over the course of the last many months by a lot of outreach. I want to thank, and he'll be on phone in a moment, our Superintendent of Public Education, the work CDE, California Department of Education, has done in terms of their outreach, formal, informal, surveys that they've put out, surveys that the state has put out, other organizations, nonprofits, NGOs have put out, really trying to get a sense of where school districts are, where parents are, and where our workforce believes we need to go as it relates to supporting our efforts on distance learning. You'll just see three specific surveys on this slide that represent different times and different questions related to our preparedness. You'll see that first comment, or rather first stat, 96.1% of school districts that reported they were at least starting to provide technology for students for distance learning. This was at the end. This specifically was a survey from May 15th to the end of the school year where we were all rushing to provide for distance learning. But you can see the vast majority, overwhelming majority of districts were moving in that direction. And we want to carry that momentum and all of the challenges related to the closing of that school year and spring session, the lessons learned, want to carry some of that momentum into the fall session. 91% of parents in another survey, this was done in late July, say that they have the technology needed for distance learning. Now, I recognize you get under those numbers. What does that mean? One laptop for 4 members of the family, that's not adequate. Download speeds that may not be top of class. All of those things are self-evident in terms of our concerns, but you get a sense of where parents at least felt they were as it relates to just basic technology needs for distance learning. But when you get to the issue of confidence, when you get to an issue of more nuance, you can see a smaller number of people, districts, students, and families feel that they have ultimately the kind of capacity, understanding, ability to utilize this technology in a meaningful and more robust manner. And so we talk in terms of bridging the digital divide. It's not just about Wi-Fi hotspots and not just about what you plug those virtual hotspots into. It's also about something much richer, much deeper. That said, we put out new requirements. Not every state did this. In fact, I would argue the vast majority, based upon our analysis of states, have not done this, but California did. We put out expectations, guide rails, with real money, and I'll get to the money in a moment, with our expectations for our statewide requirements as it relates to what distance learning would look like. The reason we were able to do that is we had enlightened leadership in the legislature that was committed to that cause. Obviously, the great support, the Superintendent of Public Education and Linda Darling-Hammond at the school board here you'll hear from in a moment as well. But we were able to have clarity in terms of our conviction that we believe that distance learning was likely to happen based upon community spread of COVID-19 and the background rates. And so we had time to really be deliberative, time to work with the legislature on protocols, processes, on budget language to really condition requirements with funding. So it's really about local flexibility at the end of the day, but with real accountability in terms of minimum requirements. Those include access to more devices for those that don't have them, more connectivity, quality connectivity, daily interaction. Look, as I said, digital, or rather distance learning, is suboptimal. We just don't want people to take their lectures and just videotape them and then provide them online. By the way, you can just go to YouTube and pretty much get that in every subject matter that's ever been debated since the beginning of mankind. This has to be a much more interactive process where we want to bring our students into the screen truly engaged, peer-to-peer, not just with the interaction of a teacher. And so we want a more dynamic engagement to the extent possible through distance learning. We want as much individualized learning, particularly for students of special needs, which is foundational as much as we can, and that's an area of obvious concern, and I'm going to talk about more of that in a moment. We want challenging assignments. We don't want just people to dial this in, and we want to recognize the diversity of the state. Children, as well as parents that are not necessarily as proficient in English, so ESL learners, English second language learners, and obviously meeting the needs of those with special challenges. That said, we have provided to date the access to at least devices and hotspots. I've talked on multiple occasions in the past. I want to thank Tony Thurman and his Digital Divide Task Force that he put together, and Linda Darling-Hammond. I want to thank my wife, first partner, Jennifer, for her outstanding work, making phone calls. Trust me, I was standing next to her in many of those cases, emails on Sunday morning, trying to get philanthropy and individuals as well as companies to provide devices and Wi-Fi hotspots. I think you've seen those numbers, 73 devices, 33,000 devices. We were able to procure over 100,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the state of California. We subsequently worked with California Public Utilities Commission, and they've made available an additional 87,000 Wi-Fi hotspots, part of our budget effort, and they set aside tens of millions of dollars in this space to help supplement the support for bridging that divide for our schools. The issue, though, of digital divide can't not be just distilled in simple numbers of devices and Wi-Fi hotspots. We really need to provide an abundance of resource. I don't know, abundance means something to some people. Others say, well, it's a scarcity of resource. But I will say I'm proud this state took a lot of the CARES Act funding, a lot of the federal dollars for this pandemic. Many other states use that money for general fund purposes, appropriately and understandably. We used a disproportionate amount of that federal stimulus dollars, and we gave it to our education system this year for learning loss, focused on equity, focused on the lens of addressing the lessons we learned in spring in anticipation we may need to bring those lessons and closing that divide into the fall session. $5.3 billion, real discretion, real capacity to procure more PPE, to provide more deep sanitation, to supplement supports, to individualize learning to the extent possible, speech therapy and other supports for those with special needs, and of course to provide more Wi-Fi hotspots, to provide more direct supports, fiber to the extent possible and preferable, to provide obviously more Chromebooks and the like. 100% of the eligible schools in California have not only been made aware of those resources, 100% have applied for those resources before the first deadline, and they're receiving those funds. I want to encourage you. We have the ability now with our covid19.ca.gov website. Encourage you to go to the covid19.ca.gov website, covid19.ca.gov. Go to the site, and you can learn to see exactly what your school district, what their allocation was of that $5.3 billion. You can see here on this slide, $450 million went to LI Unified School District, Fresno receiving about $87 million, Elk Grove, $44 million. These are just examples of the money being distributed, available, ready, with flexibility, focused on the issue of learning loss. Again, equity, is the word that we are focused on and fully resolved and committed to advancing. When you look at the distribution of funds, if you allocate them equally, you're not allocating them equitably. And as a consequence of that, we had a very robust debate with the legislature on how we thought best to utilize the CARES Act funds. 81% of those funds, we landed on that number. We wanted to prioritize for this cohort of individuals: low-income students, students with disabilities, foster youth, homeless students, and those English language learners. I'm very proud of the work we did with the legislature, with the Superintendent of Public Education, Linda Darling-Hammond's outstanding work to guide us in this direction. And as has been said many times publicly, privately, Brentwood is very different than Inglewood. And as a consequence, the needs are greater in Inglewood. As a consequence of that, we want to provide additional flexibility of resource to address those needs, to do what we can to address these disparities and gaps that predate COVID but have now been exposed at a different scale since this pandemic. And so that's the framework of focus: equity lens, robust funding to address learning loss despite other budgetary concerns, flexibility that is needed for districts. Recognizing localism ultimately is the clarion call as it relates to education in the state. It's enshrined in the state constitution, local control over 1,000 school districts in this state. So it truly is bottom up, but bottom up this year with guardrails and real money and real expectations in terms of the supports that we expect to see. With that, I want to just express my deep gratitude for the support we have received as a state through his leadership. It has been demonstrable throughout this pandemic. Tony Thurmond has been not only an advocate in his role as Superintendent of Public Instruction in the state of California, but he's an incredible partner to the state and state agencies in his ability to convene people, his ability to work with local districts and do the work that his task force has done, including key legislative leaders. I want to thank them as well for their support and participation. Has helped us not only procure and identify the capacity in terms of philanthropy and more devices and Wi-Fi hotspots, but to do something else. And he can, I hope, talk to this, but please, Tony, talk, he's on the phone, about more broadly your feelings about where we are and where we're going together. But I did want to just acknowledge your work, and I pointed this out. Tony, you may not be able to see this on a slide. The work you did with Apple, T-Mobile, Office Depot, we put out Staples, they all deserve credit, Edison, that have set aside hundreds of thousands of devices for California schools. That may not seem that interesting or even impressive, but there's a global demand for supplies, for Chromebooks, and for equipment for education. I don't want to say it's equivalent to the PPE stress that we all had early on as it relates to supplies, but supplies are constrained and they are not as abundant as they once were. And I just want to thank the superintendent for working with these companies to set aside and prioritize the access of quite literally hundreds of thousands of these devices for our school kids. It's a perfect example of something that may not have gotten a lot of attention, but was a lot of work. And he led that effort, as well as making a point that we followed up on. It's this last point on this bullet. And Tony, I'll turn it over to you right after this. And that is to see if we can leverage our purchasing power outside of just the school districts working with CDE, California Department of Education, but how about the state coming in with all our purchasing power and doing a device state negotiated master contract so we can bring down the cost, again, buy at scale, more competitive capacity to get lower costs. That's exactly what we're doing.